So this video is going to be part one of a series of videos about fixing and replacing parts on RC vehicles. As you can see, I got a decent assortment. There's a TC3 clone down there, Franken Clodbuster, Baja Ray, two Traxxas sledgehammers, custom Grasshopper, Big Bear, Ascender, Bruiser clone, Outlaw Rampage Pro, a little 16 scale D9, WPL C24, Tamiya Blackfoot, Tamiya Rising Fighter, and even a couple of tanks, and a boat. Now, like I said, this is going to be a series of videos, and I'm going to go encompass all kinds of repairs, from replacing parts, how to replace parts, what to buy if you're going to replace and upgrade, everything. So stay tuned. So as part one of this, I'm going to start here. Here, got that Dodge Power Wagon body that somebody tried to shorten for reasons Already got one of these screws out. Yeet. And twist. Now with both screws removed, yeah, we've got this to work with. So so first off, these cuts are not straight whatsoever. So you can peel this sticker off, get rid of that door handle. I believe it's on both sides, so I can get rid of that. Now, there are a lot of ways people go about fixing Lexan bodies. Usually you just let them break and then people buy a new one because they're so cheap, but if you know, you want to get some longevity out of them, a lot of people use super glue, duct tape. So for this, I'm going to be using this just cheap 5-minute epoxy that you can get at the Dollar Tree. It works. Not as good as the Gorilla Glue version, and there's not much in here, but for $1, you can't really go wrong, especially if you're on a budget. So to start with, I'm going to have to take a pair of scissors, clean up these cuts, and make them actually straight. And I'm going to clean up that shit, whatever that is there, because, like, why? Just why would you leave something like that? So, I got some nice shop scissors here. And 3, 2, 1. So now, it's trimmed about as good as I can without removing too much material. There's a gap on that side, but we're working what we got, making sure that it's still straight, making sure everything lines up. Now I'm using masking tape to hold it together while I get the glue ready. Now I'm going to mix the glue, and then I'm just going to I'm going to line the seam, fill in the holes. I'll start with the bottom first. I'll fill in the holes, line the seam, so that way, and let that set, and then I'll flip it on each side and do each side individually, so that way there'll be no drips, no running, no nothing. So now that first layer of goop is down in there on the seam. Now that I'm going to give that some time to cure before I do the rest of it. So now that the top has been sitting for a while, I've got this side slathered up, and I figure might as well do this GTR body. So I taped up the holes, as I don't know what car this was mounted to beforehand, so I taped up the holes from the top side, slathered some of this stuff around to fill the holes, and to fix that crack that's right there, I gotta maneuver around that stuff a little bit because it's running a tad bit. But once that solidifies, I can take the tape off and then clean it up and repaint it. This one was painted on the outside after somebody crashed it and taped it up. This side, this body's probably gonna end up getting the death race treatment as well, but I want it to be halfway decent, so just let that cure there. So now that it's sat overnight, it's ready for that little gap to be filled. And once that gap is filled, then it's time to clean up these seams. That seam that goes all the way down, it's time to fill that, so that way it'll sit right and it'll look right when the armor and weapons go on, because this one is getting the death race treatment. Just like this one, that red power wagon is gonna have weapons and armor and all sorts of other shit on top. And then of course it's gonna be that base color red, but it's gonna have black and some other like dark gray and black paint as well to match the death race theme. So back with the power wagon body. Now this is the first time I'm attempting it on a Lexan body, but generally when I build these bodies for myself, the 3D printed bodies, I will use spackle to fill the seams because it sands easily, it dries quick, and it holds the shape on the hard body because of course they don't flex very much because it's the hard body. So the spackle works really good on those. So this is my first time attempting it on a Lexan body, but in theory it should still be the same. Especially like up top here, once the majority of the seam is filled, I can wipe off what's unnecessary, sand it down really easily to fill the seam, and then I can cover it with some paint. As like I said, this body is getting the death race treatment. So with that, I'm going to be damaging the body a little bit. I'm going to be putting some more holes in it. I might, smash up a fender or cut it up a little bit. I don't know the extent of the damage I'm going to do to this one yet, but after I get some glue, take some of these armor pieces. It's supposed to be the cover for like a spare tire or a wheel well. This one's a little small for this body, so I might just stick it on the back here somewhere, something like that. But the other armor pieces will be going on. I've got a couple of these window grates done, so I'm probably going to take one of them and do up the front window, and then I might just put some plating on the back window. In this box here I have some of my armor plating already printed up. Got a few pieces. And then over here on my shelf I've got a few sets of weapons, so I might take some of these. This is just the first set of weapons from the Death Race line that I'm going to be producing and selling. Just the basic 50 cal style machine gun, twin, singles, long barrel, short barrel. So I may mount a few of these on the hood, or maybe fender, who knows, maybe on the roof. I just gotta figure out how I want to put some weapons and armor on this thing. Or it might not even get weapons, I might just get some armor, who knows. I'll figure that out as I continue on. But for right now we just wait for this to set, so that way I can sand all the spackle and get it cleaned up. So, going from the Power Wagon over to this GTR body that we started messing around with, all the holes in the front sealed up nicely. Most of the holes in the back sealed up nicely. There's only a couple that didn't seal 100%, so I may have to do a second coat with that. But that's not going to stop me from now continuing. So I want to see what this looks like without the black paint on it. So look forward to another video on stripping paint from Lexan bodies without damaging the Lexan. So that project's going to be on hold until I go to do that. So still focus on just repairing cracks, holes, splits. That's the whole focus. I want, if anybody is watching this video and you're still new to the hobby, or you're, haven't started yet but are worried that, you know, if you crash and you break it, there's no way to fix it, this is one way to fix it. So, and this is one way that if you want to take the time and do it, you can. If not, you could always do the other method, which would be drilling some holes on each side of the split and using zip ties to hold it together. Now, say if this bumper was broken, that'd probably be a better application of that method there, or yeah, if the bumper was split, or maybe if this had cracked and you wanted to just hold it together, drill like 2 or 4 holes and put some zip ties through to hold it. But in this case, where this was completely cut in half, to shorten it, this is probably the best method to use, other than just buying a new body, because Lexan bodies are relatively cheap. I mean, these bodies are anywhere from like $20 to $40, sometimes $50 on the higher end for some of the name brand bodies, some of the licensed bodies, like this Dodge one here. So we're gonna let that, it's almost dry, we're gonna let that finish drying, and then we'll get back to this. It seems like because of the way they were placed, these holes for the lights almost sealed up. I would need to do another coat of them. Not too worried about it. I might just end up putting light buckets back in there anyway. I've got a ton of spare 5 and 3mm LED light buckets I can just pop in there if need be. So again, so we're going to continue on with this body here for this purposes of this video after